Okay, so these are the questions. On the homework from yesterday, here. Those are your answers. Can everyone see? On 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6, those are your answers. Guys, on 4, that section of the table wasn't too bad because you know the radius is 15. You just plug in 15 for R to the volume formula. Okay, so when you have this formula, V equals 4/3 pi times R cubed, R is 15. Okay. Also, if you know R is 15, circumference is 2 pi times R. In this case, it would be 2 pi times 15, which is just 30 pi. Okay, so on number 5, I actually want to do this one. All you're given is the circumference of the great circle. So that's the circle that cuts the sphere in half. So if you're given the circumference, circumference equals 2 pi R. Circumference here is 26 pi. So 26 pi equals 2 pi R. Divide by 2 pi to get R by itself. Those cancel. That cancels. What is 26 divided by 2? 13. So your R here is just 13. And that's in feet. So how do you get the volume? You plug in 13 for R for that volume formula, 4/3 pi times 13 to the 3rd power. So 4/3 times pi. When in doubt, use parentheses. And that's 13 raised to the 3rd power. Okay. That gives you 9,202.77 cubic feet. Okay, so number 6 is probably where most of you have your questions. Am I right? So if you can type in your calculator, you can do this question. If you can type on your calculator, you can do this question. It's just a matter of how do you type it in your calculator. So on number 6, you are given the volume. So I'm going to go ahead and write the formula over here. Volume equals 4/3 pi times R raised to the 3rd power. We are essentially given the V here. Volume is 1,372 over 3 pi. That's your volume. So that equals 4/3 pi R cubed. Do you see what I've done so far? Okay. So whenever you have something squared, take a detour for a moment. whenever you have something squared, let's say x squared equals 16. How do you get x by itself? Take the square root, right? Technically, there's a little 2 here. That's why it's called square root. So when you want to get something squared by itself, you take the square root. So this will be plus or minus 4. But what happens when you have something cubed? You have to take the cube root. That's what we have going on here with r cubed. We have to take the cube root of that. So let's solve for r, get r by itself, and then take the cubed root. So with the r, you have 4/3 times pi. You're just going to divide by 4/3 pi on both sides. Going to cancel out on the right. And so now this is when you take the cubed root. I'm going to take the cubed root on both sides of this. That's going to get r by itself. So here is where you need to pay attention, especially if you're struggling with these and you don't know what to type in the calculator. I can show you exactly how to do this. Okay, so hit your second key. Hit the caret button. Okay, that means you can fill in what kind of root you want. We want the cubed root. So hover over, you might have to left arrow over. Hover over the A and put a 3. Now, within this number, we have a bunch of fractions, right? Okay, so let's start out with our first fraction, n over d. Within that numerator of that big fraction, you have another fraction. So hit the button again. Okay, so what are the numbers that go there? 1,000. What? I did this in one class. I hit the wrong button. I wish there was an undo button for the calculator. Okay, delete. That works. So we have 1,372 divided by 3 times pi. And I hit the wrong button again. Sorry. I did this in second period. I was good in third period, and now I've done it again. I hit the wrong button. I'm going to do all this over again. Maybe some of you needed to see it again. One thing I did see this morning, someone was typing this wrong. Do you see how the pi in this situation is still under the radical? They had the pi outside the radical, and that gave them a completely different answer. Okay, in the bottom part of this fraction, you have 4/3 times pi, which is another fraction. So hit your fraction key. And then voila, it gives you your radius. Yes, ma'am.
You don't hold now. You know you're going to get that one, right? You want me to put the test online?
Yes.
Are you still giving it?
No. Friday.
You doing it Friday? Yeah, I'm getting one. Friday, we're starting. I sent a whole list of things
Okay.
for the following week. And I put dates on it. If you get a chance, you can answer it.
Okay. I wasn't here yesterday, so.
I did not know this. You know what? I don't leave my room. I come say hi to her. Sorry, guys. I know I'm interrupting your lesson. You ain't listening until Friday anyway. I don't leave my room.
It's okay.
You need another review because I got one. Are you sure? Because my kids knocked these out in one day.
Well, you know, guys, stay with me. Lucas, sit up.
It's my fault.
Lucas.
Okay, bye. Sorry, I interrupted.
It's okay.
Goodbye.
All right. Sorry, guys at home. We were interrupted by a fellow teacher. She was just helping me out. Okay, so that is the table. What other questions did you have from yesterday's homework? I wrote it down, but I can't see it. There's 7 through 11. Looks like someone had a question about 15. Okay, if you don't have any further questions on number 15. Basically, this is your radius. This represents Earth. It says the mean radius of Earth is approximately 3,963 miles. Find the volume of Earth. You're going to plug this into the volume formula. So 4/3 pi times 3,963, all raised to the third power. And so your calculator cannot fit all of those digits on the same screen. So it gives you your answer in scientific notation. And that's all you have to put for this. Yes, ma'am. Which one? On homework, yeah. Okay, and so number 16, this is kind of if you had a sphere within another sphere, what would the space in between those be? And it gives you the diameter, so you have to take each of those diameters and divide by 2 to get the radius. Plug the radius in, subtract those 2 volumes, and you'll get the space in between. Number 3. So number 3, the question could have been a little deceiving. So this 22 meters is pointing to the radius or it's pointing to the diameter. It could be either one. So if you used the radius is 11, volume equals 4/3 times pi times 11 cubed. So if you used 11, your answer was going to be this answer D, which is 5,575.3 cubic meters. If you used 22 as your R, the correct answer would have been A. So all you're doing, you're plugging either 11 or 22 in to the volume formula of a sphere. Okay. Any other questions from yesterday's volume assignment? Okay, your quiz. Huh? Okay, so real quick, it says that you have a rubber ball. A rubber ball shell filled with air forms a rubber ball. The shell's outer diameter is 65 millimeters and its inner diameter is 56, basically a sphere within another sphere. And you have to get the volume of each, subtract them, and that's going to give you that space in between. So the outer one, the diameter is 65. So what would the radius be? What's half of 65? And then the inner diameter is 56 millimeters. What would the radius be? What's half of 56? 28, okay. And then, so you would just plug those numbers in. So 32.5, when you plug that in for R, you get 143,793.31. That's the outer volume. And then the inner volume, you get 91,952.32. And you just subtract those two. If I were to give you this kind of question on a test, I would give you a picture, so you could visually see what's going on. Okay, on the quiz, it looks like you had questions on number 8 and number 10. I will say a lot of, and I did not count off for this, a lot of you forgot to put your measurements. So like on number 1, that was in centimeters. Number 2, that was in feet. Any questions on the first page of the quiz? And then for 5 and 6, I don't know if you can see that, yeah. And if it doesn't give you a unit of measurement, just put units. On number 5, some of you were tempted to go ahead and use the area of a sector formula, but it's only asking for the area. So you just had to find, you know, R is half of 25, which is 12.5. Plug that into your area formula and you get 490.87 centimeters. That's actually square centimeters. Okay, so on the back page, you wanted me to go over questions 8 and 10. Okay, so number 8. The area of a sector formula, I'm going to write it up here. So the area of a sector over the area of the circle, basically, that's what pi r squared represents, equals theta over 360. So you're essentially doing part over the whole equals part over the whole, and then you cross multiply. So number 8, it says find the area of the circle. Well, area is already built in to the area of a sector formula. So instead of replacing this with an x, we want to find the total area. Area is pi r squared. So that is where your x goes. And then from here, you cross multiply. You didn't have to do pi. You didn't have to square anything. You just cross multiplied. And you should have gotten 907.62 square miles. So when it says find the area, you're on number 10, you're looking for the darkened area, so kind of in between the rectangle and the circles, that's what you're looking for. So the diameter of one of these circles is 10 centimeters. So the diameter of another circle, these are the same, would also be 10 centimeters. I want to work on a fresh sheet. Hold on. So that means this is also 10 centimeters. So this entire distance, what is 10 plus 10? 20. Lucas, put up. All right, so you can make another diameter, but going vertically here. The diameter is 10. So that distance is also 10. So this is 10. So to find the in-between areas, you're going to take the area of the rectangle, you are going to subtract the area of the two circles. Okay. So what is the area of the rectangle? What's 10 times 20? Centimeters. 10 times 20 is 200, so that's 200 centimeters. If you just look at one circle, the diameter is 10, so the radius is 5. When you do pi r squared for the area, what is 5 squared? So your area is 25 pi, right? But you have two circles, so that's going to be 2 times 25 pi, right? And all you have to do is subtract those. So we have 200 minus 50 pi. So we get 42.92, and that's square centimeters. Yeah,